tensions are rising in the Indian Ocean now as a Chinese ship, it's referred to as a Chinese spy ship essentially, is right now looking to port and be at Sri Lanka. It's in fact reached the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka this morning. India had earlier raised concerns with Sri Lanka on moves to allow what it called a Chinese spy ship to enter Sri Lankan waters. The vessel, with some 2,000 sailors on board, has facilities to track satellites, intercontinental missiles, and is slated to remain at the port till August 22nd. The ship was greeted by officials of the Chinese embassy in Colombo and officials of the Hambantota port. The Chinese embassy in Colombo had informed the Indian Foreign Ministry about this visit for replenishment purposes. We are extremely concerned about the possibility of the ship tracking systems attempting to snoop on Indian installations from the Sri Lankan port. Let me take this across to Gaurav Sawant, who's reporting live from Taipei. We also have with us Dr. Aruna Kalatunga from Colombo. I'd like to begin with you, Gaurav. Good afternoon. You're reporting from Taipei. China clearly getting more aggressive by the day. What really is their plan by going ahead and ensuring and insisting they dock their ship in the Sri Lankan port, Gaurav?
This is Chinese muscle flexing, like they are in Taipei with a number of violations of the median line. Even yesterday when a US delegation was here, 22 Chinese aircraft violated the median line, as did some ships before they went back. But if we were to talk about the current crisis in Sri Lanka, now this Wanyan 5, it's technically supposed to be a survey ship, but it's a dual purpose ship. While it surveys the ocean floor, it can track intercontinental ballistic missiles, it can track satellites, and it is a cause for concern, not just for India, but even for the United States of America. Both India and the US had objected to this. India had lodged a protest, but the fact remains, just before he left the country or he fled the country, the Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa cleared the arrival of the ship, and Ranil Wickremesinghe government, at least this is what they've been claiming, that while they sought delaying the arrival of this ship because of India's protests and of course US concerns, they're saying that their hands were tied, and this is Chinese muscle flexing in this region. Now that ship coming to Hambantota port leads to the Chinese, because of the debt crisis that Sri Lanka is in, is a cause for grave concern for navies in the region. It's a concern for India. It's a grave concern for all navies crossing these areas, because China continues with its spying activities in the Indian Ocean region. Akshita.
Yeah, Gaurav, stay with me. Let me bring in Dr. Aruna Kalatunga also. She's joining us live from Colombo. Dr. Kalatunga, what is Sri Lanka's strategy really here? Because considering the timing of this, the tensions in Taiwan, the United States very publicly taking on China, India voicing concerns also over this Chinese ship in Sri Lankan waters. What's Sri Lanka's diplomatic strategy here? Because it will mean angering so many countries in the process of placating China.
No, we are not placating China. I don't think that is the case. We have simply asked India and the United States, who in fact, as was said before, raised some concerns. But then we asked, give us concrete reasons for the ship not to be in Hambantota. And there were no concrete reasons given. And under our conventions that we have signed up, the Maritime Convention, various other laws of the sea that we have signed up, we cannot refuse a ship which is asking for replenishments and docking in Sri Lanka. So unless India or United States or whoever could have provided concrete evidence to the contrary that it is a spy ship, that it is inimical to the security of the region, we have to basically allow the ship in. Now keep in mind, it's not only the Indians. We had the Pakistani warships that were in Colombo port, they left yesterday. We always also accommodate Indian warships as well. So, and this is not the first time Chinese warship has been in Sri Lanka. It's a very normal occurrence over the last so many years. So, right now I understand the concerns in Taiwan and elsewhere, but as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, we have to maintain what I would say the best position for Sri Lanka, and the best position for Sri Lanka is in these terms: to comply with the laws of the sea, comply with the conventions that we have signed, and also keep our non-aligned policy firmly in the middle. So that's what we have done, and There was nothing in the sense that the former president had signed anything. He, in fact, didn't know because this was right at the time when there were certain, unsettled conditions in Sri Lanka, and the permission to firstly dock was given by the foreign ministry after consulting the defense ministry, but the president was never consulted at that time, so there was nothing to say that it was the president who allowed it in. It was in consultation with all the normal consultation with the relevant line ministries. And therefore, when the concerns were raised after that by the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka, we had to hello, can you hear me?
Kalatunga, go ahead.
Yeah, we had to reconsider everybody's stance, and then at the end, after consultation, I believe we gave it. Now, also, to my knowledge, your Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Foreign Ministry spokesman, Mr. Bagchi, had also, who was a former Deputy High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, who's very, very close to Sri Lanka and knows Sri Lanka very well, had issued a statement in Delhi that, in fact, there was it is a storm in a teacup as far as India is concerned. So I'm not sure why this is being portrayed as a major, event that can
There's a
harm
couple of reasons, Dr. Kalatunga, if I may intervene. One is that in 2014 itself, ties between India and Sri Lanka had been strained when a Chinese, nuclear-powered submarine had docked in one of the ports in Sri Lanka. One. Second is that this is being seen as Sri Lanka's response to the fact that, they're dealing and you're dealing with a financial crisis and China is helping you out. And thereby, in that pressure, there is steps being taken to accommodate China and Beijing.
No, you're wrong, because India is helping us much more than China at the moment. So then, therefore, we should be accommodating India and not China. But that's not the case. So we are being extremely middle of the path in this. We have consulted with India at the official levels. I know that there were very long consultations. The Indian High Commissioner met the President at least 3 times on this issue. But at the end, India basically said, look, it's okay. We don't have any concrete facts that we can say that we have to stop this ship from coming in. So that was it. I mean, if both India and US, and in fact, US basically made one protest and they withdrew from the whole process. India took it up at different levels. At the end, with the president 3 times, there were meetings. And then after Mr. Bagchi made that statement, I believe both governments have very amicably agreed as to what the next step should be. So I think as far as Sri Lanka is concerned, we have done the right thing. We are friends with both countries. I mean, India, as I think yesterday, you might be aware that India, in fact, gave us a Dornier aircraft for security concerns and security, how do I say it, to survey the security.
Yeah.
Survey the area around us. And at that when the aircraft was handed over, our president said something very interesting.
Dr.
So
Kalatunga, just stay with me. I have a couple of questions more for you, sir. I just want to bring in Gaurav Sawant back on this broadcast. He's been reporting from Taipei, and we know what's been playing out with Taiwan as well. But Gaurav, with reference to India, Sri Lanka, and this development of this Chinese ship, largely deemed as a spy ship in Sri Lanka waters at that port, India's message also has been very clear that we can protect our national interests, our security very easily.
In fact, we are, and when Sri Lanka talks about taking the middle path, Sri Lanka also knows who's actually a friend in need, and a friend in need is a friend indeed. When Sri Lanka faced this immense crisis, China didn't come forward to help Sri Lanka. It was India that came forward with close to $4 billion assistance and line of credit that Sri Lanka so desperately required at that point of time. As far as helping out, this situation is concerned, as our guest from Sri Lanka very rightly pointed out, India presented a Dornier 228 maritime surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft to Sri Lanka just yesterday. That again is a very powerful signal that helps with maritime
Bit of a
reconnaissance
problem
and
there. A bit of
surveillance.
a problem there with Gaurav's line. Gaurav, we're going to try to reconnect with you. He's reporting live from Taipei and getting us those details of what really this means for India. But Dr. Kalatunga, if I could take this back across to you, the message from Gaurav is essentially that India is Sri Lanka's friend in need, even amid this economic crisis. Do you see this development, Dr. Kalatunga, having a bearing on India-Sri Lanka ties? Is that something Colombo is concerned about?
Not at all. I mean, that's exactly what I was trying to say. You know, after everything happened, there was a very successful handover of the aircraft yesterday. The president of Sri Lanka made a very interesting statement there, where he said, "We are just two sides of the same coin." And wherever the coin falls, it's both of us, Sri Lanka and India, has to fall together. And and he brought in the historical relations of Sri Lanka with India. Also, at the high levels, at the government level, there's absolutely no problems in terms of acknowledging that India has been a friend to us. India will continue to be a friend to us. It's more than a friend. I mean, India and us are neighbors. We are from the same genes. So there is no issue with that. But so as far as China is concerned, we understand the concerns that India has about the security. I mean, I've been talking some time ago about the triangle that is encompassing India in terms of the three harbors, one in Bangladesh, one in Hambantota, one in Pakistan. Now, all of that notwithstanding, at the moment, this ship has very little impact on the diplomatic relations or the government-to-government relations that I can see, simply because once the concerns were raised, Sri Lanka addressed those concerns, and the ship was allowed to come in. And we also have some strictures in place where if within our economic zone, the ship has to keep its identification radar on so that we can follow. And keep in mind that Hambantota, while it's the commercial port under Chinese company,
Yeah.
the security of the port is completely with our Sri Lankan Navy. So we are monitoring the situation very closely, and I believe you are also monitoring the situation very closely.
All right. Dr. Kalatunga, I appreciate you joining us here on India Today with your view and your opinion on what's really playing out right now between India, Sri Lanka and China. Thanks to Gaurav as well for getting us that live report from Taipei.